Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So a goal that I set out for myself this week was dedicated to a lot of organization of old works that I've done. And going through my hard drive, I noticed that a lot of the files that I have are just duplicates of everything that I've saved so far, as well as a lot of, even for some of the old work I've done, the only documentation I have aren't even up to my standards of like high quality. Some of them were taken with a point and shoot type camera, so it was not great. But I figured I'd be able to take this opportunity to kind of be able to multitask a lot of things, or a couple of things, and basically show you guys a little bit of everything that I've done so far in a kind of like neat and organized manner, but also in a way that's not necessarily in chronological order of them being created. I will say, don't worry, I'm not going to show you all the boring bits of me just going through file for file. I have in this pile over here, you can see this very unorganized pile is basically the accumulation of the major works that I've done or saved over the past couple years. I wish I had a flat file system, but I use this stand over here that works pretty well for the means of storing them for now. But I think I'll be breaking this up into a two-part video. The way I see it is I kind of wanted to go back through and just iron out everything that I've done up to this point and just get it over with and archive it and then move on and not ever have to address these things again. But I also figured it's kind of like a kind of a fun little sketchbook tour type system where I just like throw out everything I have and be like, hey, this is everything I've done so far, and then talk a little bit about it real quick and then move on. So it kind of like, a lot of it's just a lot of experimentation, so it's nothing like great, but I figured it would be worth to just kind of sit down, explain a little bit where I don't know, for anybody that's new, explain a little bit of what I'm about and just my style, and just throw it all out there for you to see. So I will say, real quick, as a quick disclaimer, I'm not there. You're gonna find that there's a couple of characters like, and I feel obligated to say that I don't claim any rights over the intellectual property of some of the characters, just to cover my bases here. I made these things not as like a means of future marketing or selling or anything. It's a means of experimentation and thinking out loud using some of the characters that, like for one, you'll find Bastion from Overwatch. I claim no rights to this character, obviously, but I just wanted to throw that out real quick. But I'm known to be a chatterbox, so I'm just gonna cut here, and then without further ado, we're just gonna get started here, okay? So to start us off here, the first one that I have, again, these aren't in chronological order. First one we have here is the turtle that I painted here on watercolor canvas. The medium itself is, as I said, watercolor, and then I think I touched it up maybe a little bit with a micron pen over the top to kind of crisp out some edges. With this one here, I believe it's 9 by 12, but the idea behind it was just to simply test out the quality of the canvas itself. I liked the way that it turned out, and I liked the way that some of the opacity for the white watercolor paint I was using kind of works over the top of it, because it creates some really nice blooms. And with the paint itself, I think that I wanted to keep an eye on the way that it pools, like for the really, really dark areas. I kind of like purposely left blobs here just to kind of see how it dries over time and to see if it actually chips. But I did treat it with a spray to make sure that it was sealed, so maybe it won't chip or anything in the way that I think it will. But the idea itself was just a playful idea. I was sitting and working one day, and I realized that I work really, really slowly, so I kind of equated myself to the tortoise instead of the hare. And then it was just literally something as simple as I had a peanut butter and jelly that day, and I just thought it was a really cute idea. So that's basically the idea behind this one. So we'll move on to the next one real quick. So this one here is a sort of a fan art thing. It was around the time that Tyler and I were playing Final Fantasy online there. And they have one of the mounts in the game that's basically this flying whale, and it's so freaking cool, and allows you more than one person to ride in the mount in the game. So I thought of making this for Tyler at the time. It's basically, again, I claim no rights to these. It was just a fun project. It's just basically the two Muggles sitting and having some bread and some wine with their sunflowers sitting out, their lanterns, and carrying their cargo with like their house plant over the top, and just kind of like sitting and having like almost like a moonlit dinner together. So I thought it was kind of cute. I think that the size itself is 18 by 24. With it too, it is a mix of watercolor with, again, like a micron pen over the top, and then I even used some of the gold ink in here that you'll notice. And so actually, let me try to get a close up of it real quick. Oop, jeez. Yeah, so the best you can kind of see when you tilt the camera there, I just thought it was like such a pretty little effect that you can add to some illustrations. So that was just me kind of playing with some different mediums here. And I just hit the camera, oops. And yeah. And so yeah, just kind of trying to think of a playful way of building a style, and just kind of adding some crazy effects with like clouds in here, not that they look like clouds, but I think also over the top there's like a Sakura pen for like the stars that you can see there for the gel pen. But other than that, yeah, I'll move on from this one real quick. So this one real quick. I've had this one for a very long time. I really like this one. This actually was attached to this, but it fell out. This is kind of why I don't want to rely on cutting and gluing. This one, I was thinking about how I always tend to keep things in the page, and the page itself is always square, and like, I know obviously it's like, there's a reason for the reason why, like it looks more professional and cut and whatever. But this one, I just basically took the paper and made it in the fashion that I usually do, where it's cut and paste, and you can tell that the glue is starting to break here. Coming back to this one was one of the major reasons why I started getting away from the whole collaging thing, is because I went back onto an old project after seeing it stored for a while, and this was coming undone, and I was just like, okay, well that kind of solidifies it for me. But I like this one is because it's that cheesy idea. It was around the time where I started figuring some things out, and I realized, trying to move away from home, the idea of like, you're the center of your own stage, and your own dreams are in your hand or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it was just that cheesy idea. I love the idea of using sort of like fairy tale type things, or, like a story-based idea for something. So anytime I come up with a lot of what I do, there's like some small little reason or story behind it. I don't know, I feel like it's a lot of what I do just to kind of make a story behind something, because I feel like a lot of what I like to do is, especially now, is like come up with stories, or like, in the future I'd love to be able to write my own stories or illustrate stories. So this is kind of like, I've always had that in the back of my mind, and that's kind of what this one was all about. It's just kind of telling my, even if it was just for myself, kind of having a little story about this right here. So this one's kind of a fun one. A lot of people equate this one to, this was done in 2019, so not that long ago. It's hot press paper. A lot of people equate this one to almost looking like a tattoo design, which would be really cool. I know I'd love to do that eventually, is be able to design tattoos for people. This one here is like done again with watercolor, hot press. The top of it, I'm trying to place it the best I can. The top of it's done with Micron, as you can tell. I love the way that hot press works, as I've said before. As I said before, I love the way that the effect that hot press has with some of the effects here is just like grainy. The blooms stand out so well. The saturation of color is just, I don't know, something about hot press is just so nice for me. But yeah, this is just a real quick one. I kind of thought about it as like a, you know, beehive type hairstyle almost that's been matted down by nautical looking additions. So I just thought it was really neat. This one was a quick one. It was, again, 2019, playing with hot press, just coming up with geometric designs, but at the same time playing with luster and geometric shapes to make something, just kind of like piecing things together, and then literally just kind of going through and thinking out loud. So there's nothing too amazing about this one. But again, I just think it has its own quality to it that I really enjoy. I thought that this one was pretty cute. This one here is Little Raccoon. He's kind of like reaching for this very stylized looking fruit looking thing. I love the pastel colors. I really enjoy, I don't know what it is, something about mixing the Naples yellow with a saturated like magenta. It just has such a nice warm effect that I really enjoy. It's just, I don't know, especially on hot press with the grain, it sparkles to me in some way. Like it just looks so nice. But I don't think I used colored pencil for this one. I might have. I think for some spots I used the watercolored pencil, now that I think about it. Because I recognize this color and that's what made me think of it. So I think I used the pencils here, and then the rest of it was just added with normal watercolor. And then over the top you can see like the finer edges again are Micron. I think that's a blue Micron though. So yeah, I thought this was pretty cute. So this one I liked. Again, it's another Copic illustration. And I apologize again that all of this is literally all over the place, but this is how it's stored just for convenience of stacking things. Unfortunately, like in the future I'd like to be more organized, but with this one here, it's just the idea of autumn coming. Anytime I think of autumn, I just think of obviously leaves falling. I was trying to think of like Halloween characters and trying to put a different spin on it. So it's almost like the witch of the summer is noticing a change, and you know what I mean? It's more next to a body of water and it's just stylized. The way that the Micron pens look on this is really, really nice. Again, with the combination of Microns and Copic markers, it's really satisfying to see. You can tell that I'm not experienced with Copic markers because people who are really, really good at them, they don't have the edges right there that you can see, just the spots of just like scratching. I honestly do not know how some of these people work with them, but like, I don't know. They must be doing something right. But yeah, I just like the quality of it. I like the warm features of the face, and yeah, there's not really too much to say about it. So for this one, I don't know, I have a fondness for this one because it's like one of those early ones that I made around the time that I made the one of like a self-portrait of me on stage. I really like how I made this one. Like it's the same style as like cutting and pasting. And this time though, I put on a larger piece. I tried to make prints of this one, but it's 11 by 15 and it's just larger than a 9, it's just too large for my scanner that I have now, and the only way that I'm able to replicate it is through point and shoot camera at the time, and it just, the quality of the prints that I made aren't up to snuff for me. And I'm on the fence. Like, I don't know if I should make this a print or if I should just, move on. Because, again, I'm tired of, like, going back to the old stuff that I keep doing. So it's like, I might make this a print and just move on quickly. Because for some reason, something about this one I really enjoy. I don't know why. But I think I called it Wanderlust. It's just this cute little deer just dressed up in overalls and just walking in the mountains. I just think it's cute. I made this one the same way I made that moose. I was sitting in a coffee shop one day, and I just started cutting up little pieces, and from those pieces I was testing out watercolor pencil, and I would scratch on something and blob something on something else, and I really liked the way that this turned out. It's just a cute little thing. But I think I've talked about this one before, and again, it's one of those older ones, so I'm just gonna like quickly show you and then move on real quick. But I really love this one, and I love French bulldogs. So this next one, absolutely love this one. It's basically me going back and practicing stippling, and that's where you take your utensil. I'll show you real quick. Stippling is where you take the utensil that you have and you create tiny, tiny little dots. And so through the effect of little dots, you create texture and value. And I don't know, I hadn't done it in such a long time. And I feel like I should return to doing this because I really love the quality of it. It just, like, it's easy to make quick gradations for like creatures like this, like snails or slugs, you know what I mean? It's like almost perfect for them at a distance. But real quick, the idea was to, a lot of people do for watercolors, they immediately think of like galaxies and stuff. So I was like, okay, kind of do my own nebulous kind of idea. But at the time I was like, really, if you think about it, I could go on and talk about this forever because I'm a nerd. So the idea is like just constantly taking something like super, super micro and then zooming out and zooming out and zooming out almost like continuously. So like you think about, the electrons, like the atoms, you zoom out the atoms. I know I'm not a science nerd, but like eventually you reach the cells. The cells are like all working together inside their parts, and then you zoom out and there's the organism itself, and the organism lives on a planet, the planet lives in space, like solar system, galaxy, universe. So the idea was just kind of like that was out of focus. So the idea here is just basically like you carry your own like sense of like I lost my train of thought. The idea was like you carry your own sense of like your own world or your own sense of community is like little bubbles, you know what I mean? I'm overthinking it, and I have a better explanation for it, but right now I lost my train of thought. The idea is just like, inspiration or even just like your spark of life is like contained in your own little like galaxy or whatever. But it sounds dumb when I say that now, but again, there was a better reason for it in the future. But long story short, I just like the idea that was like psychedelic, like snails, which gave me a reason to stipple with the effect, and all together I just like the way that it turned out, you know what I mean? And the idea is just like their like spark has gone out here, and so it's just void. But yeah, I'm gonna quickly move on because I've talked long enough about this one. Sorry. Well, we're gonna end this one here. I think I might in the end spread this into 2 or 3 even. I noticed it's taken me a while to get through the pile here. Even my cameras are dying here at some points. As always, I thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you taking the time watching and, getting a little insight into what I do. Thank you as always for, I hope it's interesting to you. Like I said, I'm only going to run through this once here and then, probably won't see these again. But yeah, as always, I thank you for watching. I appreciate your support. And like I said, I'm going to make this short, and you'll be hearing from me soon for sure. yeah, I hope you have a good one, and I hope you take care. And again, thank you. See ya.